Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
We're Quinn and Stacy from Stoker Plastic Surgery.
Hello.
We're actually Stoker Aesthetics, I feel like. We're more the aesthetic side.
Aesthetic, non-surgical side.
Yeah, so we do all the non-surgical injectables, lasers, peels. What else do we do, Stacy?
Microneedling, PRP. Yeah.
We do it all.
Yeah, skincare. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're here to talk to you guys about the good, the bad, and the ugly of fillers. I feel like they sometimes get a bad rep, but there are so many positives with them too.
Yes, totally agree.
Can we chat about like the pillow face that everyone talks about? Have you seen that?
Yes, I have seen the pillow face, and people have commented, about the pillow face, and maybe certain celebrities or just people out on the street. But yes, it's a common thing that we get asked, and it depends on. To me, you have to go to a provider that you trust. Mm-hmm. Maybe you've seen before and after photos, but you really need to get a good sense of the person you're speaking with and consulting with before you do anything. And maybe someone wants to have a pillow face. I mean, to each their own. It's not my personal preference.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to do that to someone. I'm more natural, but pillow face, it just depends on probably how much filler. It could be a combination of things that they're getting put in to their face, because there are, things that are helping you build collagen too, and they may be doing that on top of doing filler, and you can probably look puffy after a while.
Yeah, I think the most popular ones that come to my mind would be like Kylie Jenner and the Sex and the City cast member. She's like brunette, really pretty. Charlotte is, I think, her name on the show.
Yeah.
But I think she has like now like kind of like a pillowy face, like she's had a lot of injectables and maybe disrupting the lymph system, or just kind of in areas that are either swelling or just either migrated.
Yeah, exactly. Or, some people can have kind of like an immunity to, or kind of have not so much a reaction, but where they get this post-inflammatory reaction. Mm-hmm. Maybe their body doesn't really like it.
Yeah, and it's not the one we like. When we're like, oh, the lips look kind of swollen, we kind of like that look sometimes. I feel like sometimes if it's done, also like the under eye, I feel like when the filler is placed in the under eye, we see the like swelling or puffiness so commonly when patients come in from like other offices. Don't you see that too, right? It's just like you were like, we need to dissolve it. Or like usually that area is a little bit more, I would say, problematic for honestly a lot of injectors.
Yeah. And for me, I warn patients, like, it's a tricky area. A lot of patients don't want to treat that area. I mean, a lot of providers don't want to treat that area. So, you want someone that is going to probably be more minimal with the area. But it's a tricky, sensitive area. So I think one should be careful when you're injecting that.
Yeah. Is there usually a way that you will kind of turn down a patient? Like, I feel like a lot of patients that are overdone or their fillers migrated, I feel like they often need to be dissolved. Is there kind of like a nicer way that you'd put that for patients?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, I believe that there could be a more ideal way that this could look. Mm-hmm. I do try to get a sense of what the patient likes on themselves first before I say anything, because I don't want to upset anyone and like right away, like, no, that's not good. Like, no, you need to get rid of that. Like, that's not the first thing I would say. I want to get a sense like what they see, and maybe if I'm seeing them for the first time also, I don't know what they looked like before they saw me. So maybe it was really bad before. I don't know. I do try to get a picture of someone.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I like that.
before I decide what I'm going to do.
Don't you feel like when they take the photo, though, it's like certain angles and you're like, okay, this is not the natural like thing that we're seeing right now. I feel like they're either like side posed and it's like lighting is how they want it, and it's like a photo that's either like capturing their nose very long, like it's like a tunneled photo or whatever.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I feel like it's almost like you have to go a little bit cautious with like photos from patients 10 years ago.
Yeah, because you can say like, that's a little distorted, or maybe the lighting was bad.
Yeah.
Or it's a bad angle. Yeah, or maybe
totally.
That's like 10 years ago. Like, do you have anything more current?
So I feel like we hit the ugly part of fillers. What's the good? I feel like there's so many good things about filler that can help patients feel better about themselves, like temple filler, which I feel like is really underrated, yet it's so subtly going to give you a more youthful look. Correct. Let's chat about like the positives now, because I feel like filler needs to get some positive reviews out there.
This is true, because although, I'm big on taking care of your skin, but there are things, that taking care of your skin cannot do, and that's like,
it has its limits, I feel like.
Yeah. So people who have a lot of lines in their face, a lot of little lip lines, maybe they don't hardly have a lip, or maybe, yes, their temples. Temples is a great area that is underrated, and people start to hollow, and that is an aging thing. So I feel like filler there is great. And, even when someone has some little asymmetries, I think you can balance them out more. Mm-hmm. And also maybe someone has a weak chin or a weak jawline. And
I feel like it's totally going to transform someone. I feel like filler can definitely transform a face. If it's done in certain areas, done correctly, I think it can look naturally beautiful without looking like a pillow face, like we mentioned.
I agree.
But I also agree that I think if it starts to look that way, we need to dissolve, like start afresh.
I agree.
There was, Have you seen the recent study about the MRI being done to someone, and then they showed like 20 syringes in their face still post?
I did see that.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on like fillers lingering in the body, even though the duration is supposed to be 1 to 2 years?
Yeah, and I do feel like that is something to look out for as a provider, and if you are starting to see something that doesn't look quite right. And yes, I think even though filler is only supposed to last in your body for so long, that sometimes it can end up in a place where it, your body is almost putting scar tissue over it, and it's like protecting it, and it's not able to break it down. So, so that's something that, as a provider, we gotta.
Yeah, and I feel like if the filler still looks good and the MRI shows 12 syringes, then I'd leave it alone. Like if it doesn't look bad, then you leave it in your face, and we build on top of that.
If it's not broken, don't fix it.
Exactly. I think patients get scared about the thought of it lingering for 10 years in your body, but if it's not harming you, if it's not doesn't look bad, then you should leave it alone. Yeah. So
it's almost kind of to me, it's almost benefiting them. Like, maybe you got filler that lasts a year, but you're like getting more time out of it.
Totally.
And you don't have to, keep putting filler in, but.
No, I agree. What's the ugly about filler? And I think this can get scary for some people, but I think you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I mean, the ugly, okay. we can overdo it. I mean, lips are classic, okay, that person's like really going a little overboard on those lips.
Yeah.
I think, again, go to a provider.
I think they give people like the rep that fillers are like ugly, and it's like, no, they're just going to a provider that's overdoing their filler or not dissolving or
just not being honest with you.
Yeah.
That's probably a little too much filler.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'll get patients that come in and they're wanting a certain look, and I'm like, that's not my style. That's not something I like to do.
Yeah.
So I'm not the provider.
Love that. Yeah. And I think more providers need to do that.
Yeah. Right. I mean, I'm not sorry, I don't want my name on that.
Yeah, so. It's almost like if Dr. Stoker did like something crazy plastic surgery, it's like now she's wearing that surgery for the rest of her life usually, and it's like that's linked up to his name, which he wouldn't do usually. Like I don't think he would do that.
Exactly, he wouldn't do that.
Yeah, I think that the same thing with injectables. I think people get carried away and providers just see maybe like a money sign on patients, or I'm not sure, maybe to people please, I think is also another thing. Yeah. But I think it's giving the injectables a bad look or an ugly look. What are the other areas? I'm trying to think of like the actual ugly of, so I know lips.
I mean, I think sometimes people can get a little too much jaw for
yeah, it can look too manly.
For a female.
Also incorrect filler placed in like different, if it's like too superficial or not properly placed. I've had someone that came in with cheek filler and it was placed really superficial, and I was like, oh my God, this is giving me a panic attack, because this is an area that you want to usually place deep, or with the cannula, you don't want to place it superficially, because then it holds on with water and it doesn't look good.
It'll look lumpy, bumpy.
Yeah.
That's not an ideal look.
Yeah, so I think that's really, I think that's the ugly of filler.
Yeah, I think so too.
All right. Thanks for chatting with us. I think we're going to be doing these podcasts hopefully more regularly so that you guys can get some topics, learn about new things that you guys usually won't ask us during visits or too scared to ask us. Stacy, plug us away.
Yeah, and I think everyone should come here to Marina Del Rey, Los Angeles, to Stoker Aesthetics, and come see Carla, Quinn, or Stacy.
Yeah.